Now, Kevin McCarthy faces his first major test as House Speaker. Republican lawmakers are looking to secure support for McCarthy's plan to raise the debt ceiling while significantly slashing government spending. The House Rules Committee meets today to debate the bill with the hopes of a floor vote this week. CBS News congressional correspondent Nikole Killion is following this from Capitol Hill. All right, Nikole, what can we expect today from the House Rules Committee?
Well, this meeting will happen later in the day, and we expect lawmakers to mark up the bill. What we don't expect is them to make a lot of changes to the bill. Republican leadership is hoping to keep this bill intact as is, although, again, you have some Republicans who are concerned we may not see a lot of modifications made on this bill or extra amendments once it's marked up in the Rules Committee today.
So Moody's Analytics has weighed in on McCarthy's plan, and the review isn't that great. Moody's said the quote it would meaningfully increase the likelihood of an economic downturn, which I would think is the opposite of what the speaker wants. Has the speaker responded to this at all? And could this estimate make it more difficult for McCarthy to drum up support?
He hasn't responded officially to it, but I don't know that that would change his calculus in any way, since this is just one assessment of the plan. For instance, we haven't seen a CBO score for the bill, something rated by the Congressional Budget Office, which lawmakers often point to. So, you can argue this bill in different ways depending on who analyzes it. But, the Moody's analysis is significant in that it notes there could potentially be an economic downturn if this bill were enacted, and there could be a loss of upwards of 780,000 jobs. That being said, I think the speaker would argue that we have to rein in our spending, that we can't continue to see rising inflation. And even though it has come down, certainly it hasn't come down to levels where people actually feel it. And so that's why Republicans feel that they need to try to rein in some of this spending and propose a lot of these cuts. So that being said, the speaker did have a reaction, I will say, to the president's re-election announcement. And in so many words, he basically said, while he knows that the president is kind of focused on his political future, instead he should be focused on sitting down with him and negotiating on the debt ceiling. This is a message that we have seen the speaker continue to echo time and again, encouraging the president to sit down with him to discuss this.
All right, yeah, I guess that's not a surprising response at all. But I imagine that there are some more moderate Republicans who he still needs to convince. Who are the key legislators that he's got to kind of win over?
Well, it's not so much moderates. There's some conservatives as well who have concerns with the bill. For instance, there's concerns about some of these work requirements that would be enacted for certain benefits programs like the SNAP program, food assistance, nutrition assistance, that type of thing, increasing those work requirements. Some do want to see those requirements be more stringent. There's also concern, particularly among a faction of Republicans in the heartland, in the Midwest, in terms of rolling back the Inflation Reduction Act. That would roll back some of these clean energy tax credits. And for Midwestern states that deal with the issue of ethanol, for instance, that is of concern. So we'll kind of be watching that faction of Republicans as well to see if they coalesce and ultimately end up supporting this bill. But again, many of them do have concerns. It's just a matter of whether or not Republican leaders can wrangle them in. And we know each and every day that's what they've been working to do ahead of this vote.
All right. Nikole, thank you very much.
You bet.